In India, talking about sexual health is considered immoral or humiliating, and it is the biggest reason of the negligence towards sexual and reproductive health. According to a WHO, sexual health related issues are wide ranging and it includes sexual orientation and gender identity, sexual expression, relationships, and pleasure. Sex education, that is learning about a broad variety of topics related to sex and sexuality, exploring values and beliefs about those topics, and gaining the skills that are needed to navigate relationships and manage one's own sexual health. We at MediCircle are presenting Sexual and Reproductive Health Awareness Series with the eminent sexologists, sex educators, obs and gynec doctors, andrologists, and so many health experts, wherein we are discussing the challenges and other issues faced by the society due to lack of proper awareness about sexual health. Hi, I'm Smita Kumar, and in this series today we have with us Niyati Shah. Niyati Shah is an experienced sexuality educator and parenting coach with a demonstrated history of working in the education awareness industry. She's a strong and passionate professional as a trained sex educator. She is also a global goodwill ambassador in India for human rights advocate, sexual harassment, gender inclusions, guilt-free parenting. Niyati is an enthusiastic entrepreneur who loves to be the change she wants to see. Hi, Niyati. Welcome to MediCircle on this sexual and reproductive health awareness series.
Thank you so much, Smita. Such an honor to be here on this platform and share whatever little experience I have gained in the past decade in the industry. Thank you so much.
So, you're most welcome, Niyati, and thanks again for joining us. So, to begin with, Niyati, what should one do to maintain and improve sexual and reproductive health?
So, one is to basically understand your own anatomy, your reproductive system, your body, its process. Then understand that when it comes about sex and sexuality, it's not just the 3 minute act that we are talking about.
Yes.
It's everything to do from hygiene to the union of two people to the diseases that it may cause. So, one has to understand and educate themselves about all of this as a bigger sky and those small clouds as topics, and then understand that okay, where do you need to prevent all the wrong things that can happen to you, whether it's safety or it's health, and then take it forward and make informed decisions about it.
Definitely. Because I think there are a lot of people who want to know the solutions to their problem, but they never approach a sex expert for them. so,
That's true. That's true.
So, Niyati, in India, sexual and reproductive health is considered a bad topic, and mostly the youth is introduced to the puberty from other sources and not their parents. Do you think this is the reason people find it difficult to discuss sex related matters with their parents? And if so, how can one eradicate this communication gap?
So this is what I have been telling all my parents, Smita, that when children are young, they are not speaking with you. They are listening to you, but they don't know your language. What they see is what they learn, right? So more than hearing and understanding your language, they see your body language. They see how you are reacting to things and the tone of your voice. And that's where we are telling them non-verbally that sex and sexuality is a taboo. We should not talk about it. Nobody will address your issues. We will shame you if you're touching your genitals. So without telling the child that you should not be asking me these questions, we are indirectly letting them know that the society does not talk about it.
True.
So yes, we have given that taboo to our children, and because of which most of them don't ask. We as kids never question our parents, Mita, that why are you not talking about periods to me? Why did you not tell me? Very few of us have that relationship with our parents where we ask them that why did you not talk about it, or not let me know, or probably they did. So
Yeah.
similarly, we have to break that chain now. We have to break that pattern and start talking about it in a very natural manner, very normal manner. That okay, if you feel like touching your genital, it's a very personal thing to do. It's a private thing to do. Go into your room or go into the washroom, and then you come back, wash your hands, and come back out later. Join us for dinner, whatever it is. When
Yes.
we make it a very normal phenomena, we are also teaching them the values around it. We are
Yes.
talking about hygiene, we are talking about privacy. So parents have to take that up, and then the children will learn to be okay about it.
Definitely. One quick question on this STDs, like sexually transmitted diseases, continue to be one of the significant public health concerns. While awareness is a possible solution, what other factors do you believe shall help reduce the spread of STDs?
I think availability of contraceptives with education, not through advertisements on television. Trust me, Smita, IPIL has been one of our major issues as health, sexual health educators, because the teenagers, the youth are popping IPIL as if it's a contraceptive.
Okay,
2 a month, 4 a month, 6 a month. You can't do that. Young girls should not be taking it in. Boys think it is one of the easiest solution. So while the contraceptives are available and you are letting the market know about it, I think enough education and warnings should be attached to it. So while you are teaching them to be safe from pregnancy, we cannot lead them to bad health, bad reproductive organs. You
definitely.
cannot go from one ditch to the other. So the education definitely is the key, and not only when through advertisements, but I think as a school, as a curriculum through school, where we are teaching them community living, hygiene, the responsibilities. There, the education should begin. Also, availability of contraceptives with ID cards, with making sure that it's in places where
Yes,
somebody is responsible for it. Yes, it may be available in the public washrooms or in the hotel rooms, but at the same time, if that a little bit of accountability needs to be
that's
here,
true.
just so that the transition is smooth. Once everybody is there and they understand their responsibility, then you don't need to monitor anyone. But till then, some just make it available. Talk about it at home. Talk about it before people get married or before they start having sexual encounters, rather than wait for something to happen and then talk about it. So
Definitely.
I think availability of contraceptives and talking about it as much as we can to the young ones is very, very important.
Being a sex educator, I would just like to add one question here. Sex education is a course in our Indian curriculum. School such this curriculum has one subject, and it has classes for that in all the Indian schools. But do you feel it is being practiced to that level? Why the kids are still, I mean, confused? And because I remember in my school, there was a sanitary napkin company which had come when I was in class sixth, and they distributed sanitary napkins to eat because it was a girls' school. Like my daughter is studying in a Kuwait school, so like what kind of sexual education things should be there, and how these companies who are promoting their products, especially in Kuwait schools, because at that time there is a gender bias, there is a difference. Okay, girls are like this side, boys are this side. So what do you feel about that, and do you have any suggestions for that?
So, see, as a very passionate sex educator, I want both the genders to sit together and learn about facts so that they both can see each other eye to eye, be in that room, and get comfortable about these topics. But
Okay.
at the same time, these are the children who have not been exposed to this topic at all. So when we are sitting with
Yes.
them, when we are sitting with them and teaching them, we don't want them to be awkward about it where they are shying from one another. So, in the beginning, the first couple of lectures, we do keep them separately, talk to them about themselves, let them be comfortable with themselves and their gender, then get them back together. Like, okay, you also need to know about the others. So, the books that I have written, the girls' book has a section on the boys' puberty and how they grow up. The boys' book have a section of what girls go through. So
Okay.
this education is important. Like both need to know about one another.
Very
And
much.
as you mentioned, how your school had the sanitary napkin coming in,
Yes.
that is advertisement. They give you that 30 minute of an lecture that you can play, you can wear white. But in reality, the girls have pain. The
Yes.
girls, we still are not comfortable wearing white because of the stains and how people will see those stains.
Yes.
How
Yes.
much ever, even 40 years back, people spoke about it, but it's not there. So,
Yes.
as a society, even and the curriculum that is being addressed is more from the biology point of view. It's a chapter.
Chapter. True.
It's not a life skill. It's
No.
not a life skill.
No.
The boys are not taught if you see a girl's skirt stained, just
Yes.
politely go and tell her that your skirt has stained. You might want to go and wash it,
Yes.
or offer her some help. Like, can I do something for you? If
Yes.
a girl is crying in class, holding her stomach, Is there a friend who can come and say, hey, what can I do for you? Should I get you a hot water bag or something? So that life skill needs to be inculcated. And
Definitely.
that can only happen when the authorities of the school have that kind of a mindset, and it trickles down through the staff.
Definitely.
Because this, even the bio teachers are hesitant to speak about this
Yes.
chapter. They
Yes.
leave it for the last chapter of the term,
Yeah,
where
I
when they don't
remember.
have to see the children.
Yes.
Yeah. So that is not how it should be.
Definitely.
Also, what happens is these chapters are introduced when children have been introduced to puberty, when they've started their
Yes.
puberty journey. So the hormones are already playing on them. So when these teachers, usually the female teachers, are teaching these chapters, there's always some boy in the class who's passing unnecessary comments or judgments, or how it can become a little disrespectful. So the teachers are very scared of what kind of questions will these children come back with. Do
Yes.
I have to say this? Can I say this? What if I don't want to say it? So they stick to the reproductive system, whatever the textbook gives them, and they're done with it,
Yes.
because even our teachers were not taught how to deal with this subject and how to answer these kids. That's where sex education and educators like me come in. Information though, everybody has it. It's
Definitely.
the skills that we need to teach them.
Definitely. So thank you so much, Niyati, for sharing the significant information about sexual and reproductive health with our viewers today. As a dedicated media portal, we definitely hope that the audience, especially the young audience, we are able to educate them, aware them about the need of learning about sexual and reproductive health, which is very important aspects of all our lives. So thank you once again for joining.
Thank you so much for giving me this platform. Thank you so much, Smita.
You're most welcome. Thanks.
for having me.